Hi guys, this is the last part of the tutorial for the Time to Flourish mini album. We have made all of the pages now we just need to decorate the cover. And as you can see, we have no paper left, but we do have the back side of the cover from the 8x8 collection. And we have the paper from the stamp collection. And we do have some scraps left from the paper. Then we're going to use 2 pieces of leather paper, and they measure 4 inches by 8.5. And we're going to use those on the corners of the cover. You also need a strap, and it has to be 1/2 inch by at least 14. If you don't have one, you can use the leather paper, maybe double layer it so it's stronger. Leather paper is really strong and almost impossible to tear. And the only reason I chose to use my fake leather strap is because, well, I had it in my stash. So, I might as well. And with that, we are going to need a buckle from Tim Holtz and some eyelets, a metal corner for the end of our strap, 4 metal corners for the corners of the cover, and the small brad that comes with the buckle, and a long brad to fasten the strap to the cover. The color doesn't matter as long as it's long enough to go through the cover. But let's start with the back side from the 8x8. We're going to cut as close to the fold as we can, and that is going to give us a piece that is 8.5 inches by 8, of course. And then we're going to take this sheet from the calendar stamps, and I'm just going to pause again. If you don't have this piece of paper, then you can just use a regular piece of cardstock and maybe do some stamping on it. But we gotta use what we have, and I really like this clock, so I thought it would be a nice background. And we're gonna cut that at 8.5 inches, and I am just using my other piece of paper to make sure that they are the same size. And see, this gives us plenty of paper to work with. And we're gonna take the blue piece and cut off a strip at 1.25. And my son Kian asked if he could help me with the cutting, and of course he could. And then we're gonna cut off another strip at 1 inch. And we're gonna use those pieces for the front with the paper from the stamp collection. And for the back, we are gonna use the rest of the blue paper, and then we have to puzzle some pieces together from our scraps. It took me a long time to figure out which pieces I wanted, but I decided on these. And here I'm just using my leather paper piece to see if I have enough pieces to make a 8.5 inch strip. And you don't have to use the exact same pieces as I'm using. You can design your own strip exactly how you want it. It just has to be big enough to fit the cover. But when you have all of your pieces ready, you're gonna flip them around and start taping them together with your score tape, just like we did with all the photo mats. And make sure that you have them in a straight line, so it's not gonna be crooked on your album. Give all of your pieces a good burnish with your bone folder. And then we can just cut a tiny bit of the edges to give it a nice straight edge. And then we're going to cut a tiny bit of the ends, so we have 8.5 strip as high as the other pieces. And I can see that I still need to cut off a little bit more. And now it fits. We are starting with the back of the cover. And we're taking our little puzzle strip, and we want to place that at the edge of the cover. But first we need to ink the edges. But you want to leave one of the sides because we are going to put that together with the blue piece. And I think that it looks a little smoother when there's no ink between the pieces. Then we can start peeling off all those anti-stick pieces. But be careful with your strip now, because this is gonna make it a lot more wobbly. But now you can add your glue. Go as close to the edge as possible all the way around, and then just fill the rest of it in with glue. And now before you put it on, just double check that it's not upside down, that it is the back of the cover, and then place it on the left side. Right now my album is turned just to make it easier for myself, so the spine of the cover is up, and I'm placing it about 1/4 of an inch from the edges, so you can still see some of the clean paper underneath, and give that a really good burnish. And if you have some glue popping up between the pieces, then just take your cloth and dab off the glue. And now for the blue piece, we are gonna ink the top and the bottom, but not the sides this time. And then we're gonna add our glue. Again, go as close to the edge as possible, and then just fill the rest of the piece in with glue. And then place that right up against your puzzle piece. And don't mind that there is a big gap in the corner. We're gonna cover that with the leather paper. And again, give it a good burnish, especially over all the seams. So all of the corners on the pieces are gonna lay totally flat. And then just wipe off all the excess glue. And then we're moving on to the front. You want to place the 1-inch strip on the right side and the 1 1/4 on the left side, and the stamp paper in the middle. And again, if you imagine that this is one big piece, you want to ink the edges around the piece, but not those in the seams. And like I said, we are gonna place the 1-inch strip on the right, so add your glue again as close to the edge as possible and fill that in. And I am just turning again to make it easier for myself. The spine is now on top again, and I am using the stamp piece to make sure that I have it on straight, and then burnish with your bone folder. And now this is where it gets exciting. The paper from the stamps is not glued down. Before we do that, we are gonna place our buckle, and we want to put it through the paper. So we're gonna measure 3 inches from the edge and make a small pencil mark. And then we are gonna measure the other way and find the middle. And we're gonna make another pencil mark as wide as the piece that has to go through the paper. And that is the flat part of the buckle with the hole in it. And when we have that, then we're gonna make a small cut between our pencil marks, only wide enough so that the flat part of the buckle can go through. And when you have that in there, then you're gonna flip it around and make another pencil mark where the hole is. And then take your pick tool and poke a hole. Place a piece of score tape over the back of the buckle just to keep it in place. Cover the back of the whole piece with glue. Then you're going to place the piece up against the blue strip. Burnish. Then add your glue to the back of the last strip. And place it up against the stamp paper. And burnish again. Now we have to put our brad through the buckle and the cover, so we just need to be careful so we don't ruin anything inside the album. And then we're taking the pick tool and poking through that tiny hole we made before. And then give it a good wiggle so you make kind of a wider hole so the brad can go through. Just like so. And then on the inside of the cover, you're gonna spread the thingies and flatten them out. And just add a little piece of score tape on top of that. And then you can glue in the pocket page for the January. And as we did with all the others, cover it with score tape and fill in the blank spots with glue. And place that in the middle of your page and give it a good burnish. And now your buckle isn't gonna go anywhere. Now we are gonna do the leather paper corner pieces, and we're gonna need our border punch. Take one of the leather paper pieces and place the punch in the middle of that. And just like we did with the eye piece, you're gonna go all the way to the edge on both sides of the pieces this time. And then just do the same thing with the other piece. And now they should match up. Now just take one at a time and kind of pre-bend it in the middle. And the other one. And we're only gluing on half a piece at a time. It has a lot of thin details and this glue dries pretty quickly. But when you have that on there, you can add your glue to the other side and press that up against the spine. Burnish with your bone folder and make sure that you soften it in the corner so your paper don't wrinkle too much. And then the same thing on the other piece, one half at a time. And burnish and remove all of that excess glue with your cloth. Add your glue to the other half and fold that up against the spine and give that a good burnish. Now we're going to add the middle corners. So you want to use your pliers to open up the corners, and when you can get them to fit, put some glue in them and place them on the corners of the album. And use your pliers to press them together again. And then use your cloth to get off all of that excess glue. And do that to all four corners. And then we need to add the strap. Place your ruler at one end of the strap and make some small dots where you want your holes to be. And I'm starting 1.5 inches from the edge, and then I am making 5 little dots with 1 inch in between. And then I am using my good hole punch to punch out all of those little holes we just dotted. And when we have all 5 holes, we are gonna add our eyelets. And I am sorry that I am not keeping in frame, but this is what it should look like when you are done. Then we're gonna take the last middle corner and fold it so it's no wider than 1/2 inch. And then we need to cut the corners of the strap into shape, like so. Then we can add our glue and place the middle corner at the end of the belt and press it on with your pliers. Then we're going to put the strap through the buckle, and I am using the middle hole. And then we're going to figure out where we want to fasten it on the other side. So I am wrapping the strap around the album, not too tight and not too loose. And then I am using my ruler to find the middle. And when you have found the middle of your back cover, then take your pick tool and push it through the belt at first. And when you can see the little dot on the inside of the cover, we're gonna take out the December page and push through the cover. And then we're gonna wiggle the pick tool up and down to make the hole a little wider. Then take your brad, push it through the strap, and then push it through the cover, like so. Then spread the thingies on the inside and flatten them out. And place a piece of squirt tape on top. And now you can glue in your December pocket page. And this is what we have so far. We are just gonna close up the album and then we can hide the brad in the back. And we are starting with this sticker. We need to get some foam tape under that so it's not just gonna float next to the bread. So just cut off two smaller pieces and place one at the top and bottom of your bread. And place your sticker on top of that. Then we're going to take this sticker and we want that to be a little higher than the middle. So now we're going to cut off two layers of foam tape, placing them on the top and on the bottom of the sticker. And remember, two layers. And then we're going to do one layer on the sides. And when we have all that, we're going to place it on top of the other sticker. And then we're just gonna stamp a 2022 and a 2023. And I'm gonna use the inside of the cover for this. And I'm just smearing on some vintage photo just to give it some color. And then I am using the numbers from my calendar stamps. And you don't have to do a number. You can also write something if you want. But this is just what I just chose. But we are going to use this piece of chipboard for the spine, and the plan is that the numbers here go inside or behind the chipboard. So I'm just lining up here to see how much I need to cut off for it to fit behind the chipboard. And I also want to cut out that graphic 45 to have behind. So I have something to add my glue to. So I am adding my glue to the sides and to the bottom of the chipboard, so I still have plenty of room to push something behind. And then I am placing it, so I'm framing the graphic 45. Then cutting all of it out. And remember, the pieces you want to put in has to be cut a little bigger than the hole so they can stay behind it. And then we can just glue this whole thing onto the spine. And I am placing mine on the top and giving that a good press. And then it's time for some fussy cutting so we can decorate the front. Just take out all of the scraps you have left and choose the flowers or whatever from the pieces you have and cut that out. You don't have to choose the exact same thing as I did. I just cut out a bunch of flowers, so I had something to choose from, and I did end up not using all of them. But if you have many leftover flowers, you can always use them on a card. So don't throw anything away just because you don't use it right now. Then take some of the other scraps, the bigger the better, or the longer the better, and tear the sides a bit, preferably kind of random. I did leave some of the edges untorn. And then just ink everything, including all your fussy cuttings. And then we're gonna figure out how we want all of our pieces. And I really want to cover up the graphic 45 at the top of this paper. So I am trying to place my flowers so they cover that up and still look kind of random. So it's not obvious that I am trying to cover up something. I moved the flowers around a couple of times and tried different things. But this is what I decided to do. As you can see, I added some foam tape under all the torn pieces. And then on some of the flowers, I added glue, and some of the other ones, I used some foam tape as well to give it some dimension. And there are no rules for how to place your flowers. You can do it however you like. But I like to cover up some of the missing parts of the flower. For instance, that pink one on the left, you can see it has a pretty straight edge. So I want to put that sign over it to cover that up. And then this flower was the last one I decided to add. And as you can see, I still have plenty of flowers left, so I am gonna add some to the back as well. We are gonna add this border sticker just to give it a little more detail. And then we are gonna choose which flowers we want on the back of the cover. I am also doing this to cover up some of the stickiness from the hook thing that was on the 8x8 pack. I did manage to get it off with a heat gun, but some of the stickiness was hard to get off. I'm gonna add a sunflower here, and then I think that I'm gonna add this bird too, and then we are done with the back. The last thing we need to do is add our glossy accents, and I am just going crazy with this on every single flower, but of course this is optional, but then it just needs to dry. And that is it, guys. We are now completely finished with our planner slash calendar slash mini album. I am in love with the result. I hope you are too. And this is all we have left from the collection. As you can see, we don't really have any paper left. We have a couple of fussy cuts, and then we have a couple of chipboards left, some smaller stickers, and some tiny scraps. Yeah, maybe you can do some die cutting or something with these. And then we have a couple of bigger pieces, so you might be able to make some more photo mats if you want to. But guys, I had so much fun making this album, and I hope you enjoyed it too. Please let me know in the comments what you think of my tutorial. And if you have made this album, please share the result on the Graphic 45 official community page. I would love to see it. And if you haven't done it already, please subscribe to my channel and click the bell to be notified about my upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching, and happy crafting!